represents Simcoe-Grey, and he's the critic for colleges and university research. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you, Rob.
Very interesting stuff from Mr. Hampton there. Let me get the view from the other opposition party. Today, the Progressive Conservatives are promising to give Ontario's relief on their hydro bills by ending the FIT program. That's the feed-in tariff program related to the windmill solar panel deal.
Right.
What's your opinion on that, sir? What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, and Tim Hudak also announced at the power conference today that we'd end the $7 billion Samsung deal. Listen, these are the unaffordable wind and solar projects that have been put up in communities, often against the wishes of communities. I note the last $1 billion worth of projects that were announced were all in non-Liberal held ridings. That was right after Brad Dogood, the minister, canceled the offshore windmill project in Lake Ontario, just outside of his, just along the side of his riding. So he doesn't want them in his area either. These were up to 80 cents a kilowatt hour, and the price of power is 5 cents a kilowatt hour in the province of Ontario today. And they've been a major cause of our electricity bills going up. Dalton McGuinty's raised rates 8 times in the last 7 years, and the Canadian Manufacturers Association tells us that over the next 3 years, if these projects were to go forward, they'd add another $752 a year to people's hydro bills. Dalton McGuinty said in his recent budget that hydro bills are going to go up 46%. That's if he keeps going ahead with these green energy experiments. So Mr. Hudak, as part of our policy leading up to the campaign, went into the Lion's Den today, spoke to the Ontario Power Summit. Many of these people will be millionaires if these projects went forward. And he told them they're going to be canceled because we have to bring.
I understand that, and it sounds easy. Okay, you have these deals, and we're going to cancel them.
Yeah.
But many people, as you say, made investments.
Yeah.
Built windmills, solar farms to take advantage of the rates, 80 cents a kilowatt hour. As you mentioned, 10 times the going rate for electricity. But these are long-term deals.
Yeah, 20-year deals.
20-year deals. Substantial capital investments have been made, and now Tim Hudak is saying, what, just going to tear them up?
Yeah, well, no, we're going to honor PC government's honored contracts. So anyone that has a contract will honor.
Okay.
The problem is the Liberals really badly thought this out. There's about 1,500 people that have contracts signed under the FIT and microfit programs. Of those, very few have actually got online. You drive around your area, you drive around my area, you drive around southwestern Ontario, and you see these solar panels lying flat, not following the sun, because the wires are dangling down. They're not hooked up to the grid. And Ontario Hydro said we don't need the power, so we're not going to hook up a lot of these people. But you're right, they've spent thousands of dollars. In some cases, I have a farmer and spent $100,000 borrowed from the bank to do what the government wanted to do, and that was to put green energy projects in place. They were misled. We'll honor their contracts. That will cost a significant amount of money. We're working on the details. But PCs do honor contracts. What we will not do in the $7 billion Samsung deal, since it's a secret deal, we don't know the details of it. As far as we understand, it's not an actual signed contract. It's just an agreement. We're going to try and rip up that deal and get taxpayers.
Well, I've had many questions about that deal from day one.
Right.
How Mr. Smitherman could go to Korea and basically shut out any Ontario company from ever getting involved in renewable energy to provide renewable energy technology to the ratepayers of Ontario is absolutely beyond me.
Right.
We've obtained, and I'm sure you've seen it, the copy of this agreement with about half of the pages are just totally blank.
Yeah.
The other half are so heavily censored that you just can't make any heads or tails of it.
Yeah.
So we don't know what kind of penalties may be built in there or what have you. So again, you may face an uphill battle there. We just don't know.
Well, governments are supreme, and we know that governments can rip up contracts. This one isn't exactly a contract; it's an agreement for access, as you've mentioned, Rob, and you're one of the few that understands that. And it's an agreement, an untendered agreement. No Canadian company, no Ontario company got an opportunity to bring in.
There was no RFP or anything like that. So
nothing. It was.
But let me ask you. Okay, so if you're going to cancel all these renewable energy deals, you'll be accused of being first of all, a bunch of knuckle-dragging Neanderthals who have no vision for the future of renewable energy for the province of Ontario. How do you plan to counter that in election season?
Well, renewable energy was part of the mix. When I was the energy minister years ago that broke up Ontario Hydro and created the new systems and introduced the Energy Competition Act in 1998 that makes all of this possible. Prior to that, it was one big monopoly. You couldn't sell energy into the grid. It was illegal. So our party but we had visioned at that time, and I put the first windmills up in Ontario, up in the Bruce Peninsula area as a pilot project to see if they were affordable and if we could attract green energy jobs. We knew at that time that you would have to massively subsidize companies to come here or to build here, and that it would be unaffordable. Electricity was always part of the economic backbone of this province, and Mr. McGuinty's turned it into an expensive green experiment where people and businesses can't afford to turn the lights on. They can't afford their hydro bills, and it's the number one pocketbook issue with Ontarians. So green energy will always be part of the mix, but we'll have it in communities where it's wanted, and we'll have it at prices that taxpayers can afford. There's lots of areas in the province where the wind blows, where the farmers want the rent on the windmills, and where companies are willing to put them up at reasonable prices. The fact that, as you know very well, that Mr. Smitherman come up with these prices that are the most generous in the world at 80 cents a kilowatt hour, 46 cents, 66 cents for solar. The prices are wild. There's no basis, no study to show why we have to give that kind of money. And Tim Hudak had the guts today to go into the Lion's Den, tell them face to face, clear the air, what the policy is going to be forward. And I know, because as a former energy minister, a lot of these fellows in the system are friends of mine. They knew they were on a gravy train, and the gravy train had to stop.
Okay, got to wrap it up there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rob.
Jim Wilson, Simcoe-Grey.